Well, good morning and welcome to another Wild Places video. I wasn't expecting to make another video so quickly after the last one. So right, I've got to go in that direction. I reckon it's going to take some jumping of walls and things like that. I know farmers don't like that because it damages it can damage the dry stone wall. But hopefully there's some stiles. Let's see. Now you would assume when you come through a gate like that there is some sort of right of way for the public. Otherwise there'd probably be a chain and a lock on it. What I always try to do in these type of videos is get away from the main paths, the main tracks, and sometimes like take what you'd maybe think of as the most challenging route. And I can see ahead of me exactly the destination of today's video. So if you can see down in the valley here, that's Vindolanda Roman Fort. And up on the hillside up here is Vindolanda Quarry. Quite often these quarries have been used in modern times as well. So sort of Roman activity gets conflated with more modern activity, you know. But there's no doubt about it, these quarries around here, in my mind, have been used to quarry stone for the structures that were built by the Romans. So we're going to follow the countryside code. We're going to make sure that all the gates are closed behind us. We're not going to bother animals and bother wildlife, and we're going to just make our way literally down these fields. That's a lovely wildflower meadow, this. That's where I've come from. Hadrian's wall up in the distance there. Let's make our way down the field. Of course, I've said in many of my videos that one of the reasons I come out to walk in these places is to get away from cities. Kind of for your own well-being, so to speak. And I can't help thinking with this current sort of crop of politicians that we have, in my opinion, just messing things up for everyone, is that at some point they're going to stop people coming out and roaming in the countryside like this completely. I hope it doesn't happen, and I hope there's enough people interested in the countryside to make sure that never happens, of course. But when you hear about things like 15-minute cities, and of course the climate change agenda, I mean, they can do anything in the interests of climate change, can't they? And one of those things might be going out into the countryside, and driving out 20-30 miles out into the country is unnecessary. If we're not careful, things could go in that direction. Let's hope not. Public footpaths, public right-of-ways, historic right-of-ways, if they haven't been used and established, then the landowners can reclaim those free roaming areas forever. I'm forgetting what the legislation is, but something reminds me that it was July 2026. Of course, I could be totally wrong about that. And that is when, if right-of-ways, I'm talking about historic right-of-ways, haven't been used and they're not on the OS maps, they're not established maps, they're closed down. So you might be one of these people who, you might live somewhere in the UK that has one of these type of routes that you've known for all your life that has been a public right of way. But unless it's an official right of way, then that is effectively closed down from July 2026. By the way, thank you for the nice comments on the last video I made up to Bygate Standing Stone. I don't get many comments, I've not got many subscribers, so it's really nice to when people appreciate what you do. Now, I personally think I'm pretty shit at this type of thing, but I do appreciate it if people get something from the video, even if it's just a new destination that they never thought about doing before. And by the way, I'm not looking for attention, I'm not like monetizing this channel or anything like that. It's just more about just sharing the experience, because I mean, I use these videos for my own sort of well-being, to be honest. I look back, I started doing this in 2010, believe it or not. Whenever I'm feeling a little bit sort of, I don't know, down, I'll bring up the channel and I'll just relive what it was like when I did that walk that day. So got a little bit of a brook at the bottom there. Loads of little animal tracks here. They must come down here for a drink. So I've just got to get over this little bit here. That looks like there has been gates here before, but just damaged. So I'll have to step over the barbed wire. Wow. Oof. Excellent. Now today I'm using something I haven't used in a long time. It's the Slypod. Unfortunately, this tripod's not really strong enough for it, so I've got to kind of prop the back end up with the little the little sort of folding tripod that I have, the Osmo on. But you get some really effective shots with this, you know, especially if you've got something in the foreground, like some tall grass or a wall or a fence or something, and you can sort of track, you can set this up so it continues to just go backwards and forwards, and you can give it, you know, various, let's just make one. Yes, sorry. So you can get various tries at the shot type of thing, you know. But I mean, they're a ball ache to set up, there's no doubt about it. I used to carry like a tripod foot on it, and that's all I needed. I didn't really need the tripod. I just had a really solid heavy base which I would connect to the bottom of it, and then when I wanted to do those horizontal type shots, I would connect it to it that way, and then I would get those lovely sort of slider tracks. So a Slypod E, I mean, I used it a lot about 4 or 5 years ago, and it's just been sitting around, and I thought it was knackered, to be honest with you. It took a few attempts to get it charged, but I think it's holding its charge. I think it's still working. So I don't want to set the shot up here because there's lots of farm buildings looking onto where I am at the moment, and if there's any hint of doing anything sort of commercial on this land, they'll not be happy. So I'll keep that for maybe when I get onto the ridge up there or something, and then see if I can get, you know, I don't know, at least, I don't know, 2 or 3 shots with this Slypod. It does really add to the production value of these things when you get those lovely sort of moving shots as you're walking by type of thing. And it's all contrived, isn't it? But it's all about making it interesting for the viewer, you know. Anyway, time to press on. Let's go. Oh, it's blooming heavy. No, I don't want to go into that field with the cows, or I mean, I love cows, but they can be dangerous, you know, when they surround you. I've been surrounded by them before. And it's not like I think they're trying to hurt you or anything. I think they just think that you maybe got food, and then before you know it, you're getting crushed by them. I'm the same with horses as well. Great view of Vindolanda from here. Let's just flip the camera around. There you go, straight ahead. Vindolanda Roman Fort. Around about 150 AD, all of this stuff was built. Though that's not in living memory of the crucifixion of Jesus, it's definitely within a generation of it. The Romans did their best. I think it was in 70 AD. 70 AD, they just flattened Jerusalem and they did their best to try and hide where Jesus was crucified and also where he was buried, the tomb of the resurrection. And the Romans did their best to hide it, and they did. But people knew, the Jewish people knew where these sites were, and even though it was just rubble, they would still return to these, what they would call sacred sites. Eventually, I think the Romans decided this Christianity thing is far too powerful, we need to get in control of it. And it was, I think it was Emperor Constantine who he's said to be the first Christian Roman emperor. Anyway, it's time to press on. So over on the top of the hill here is like a stone monolith. And I've just been talking to an old couple who are out walking, and they didn't seem to know much about it. They were convinced it wasn't Roman though, but didn't know much about it. Now, I haven't seen it firsthand for myself. I'm going to pop up there now and I'm going to have a look at it. But normally that indicates sort of Iron Age, you know, like sort of, I don't know, prehistory. It could be that, or it could have just been like a folly Victorians put up, or was maybe put up, I don't know, in medieval times or something like that. But I'm going to have a look for myself and I'll make my own judgment. And if I cannot come up with a plausible explanation for it, I'll probably just make something up. The couple I was talking to earlier about this stone monolith thing at the top, it was a pleasant conversation, but the woman, I could tell she was very suspicious. One of the first things she said to me was, "Have you got a drone?" I'm one of those people, you know, with a drone. I think she said, I don't want to be on film, I don't want to be filmed. Well, pet, I don't want to film you. I have no intention and no desire to film you at all. And if you are a little tiny speck on a video, then no one can work out who you are anyway. But this whole demonisation of people using these fabulous tools in the countryside. And I know there's some irresponsible people flying drones and riding electric bikes and that sort of thing, but the vast majority of people, especially doing what I'm doing here, are sensible people. They want to stick to the rules of the countryside. They want to make a video about it so they can share the experience with others. If you're one of these farmers who has to deal with this type of thing, you can tell if someone's being responsible or not. Have a conversation with them and start being so uptight about them, man. It's just, they're just photography tools. And as a responsible drone pilot, I don't go flying over people's heads or anything stupid like that. I'll get a couple of shots to set the context of where I am. I'm going to head up the top here. I'm just taking my time because I'm an old man. I've made it up to this standing stone. Somebody said it was earlier on that this is not very old. It's not Roman, it's not prehistory, it's not Iron Age or anything like that. And probably the reason they think that is because it's got brackets holding the thing together. That suggests to me they wanted to preserve it. And maybe it had fallen over and they've put a big rock here and some metal brackets in to hold it together. Because maybe it is some sort of Iron Age monolith. Why else would anyone make these things in the modern era? What was the importance of erecting this stone here? Now it has got a marking on it, like an ordnance survey type of location mark. I think that's what it is. Perhaps it was used in early mapping or something like that. There's a trig point just a little bit further across on the other hill there, so it's quite conceivable that that's what this was used for. I'm not convinced that it's anything recent. And I would argue that it probably is some sort of Iron Age monolith, and the people who repaired it knew that. Who knows? So the quarry is down below me just here, and it's fenced off, bit of barbed wire, Vindolanda Roman Fort just there. It's really a perfect spot to launch a drone shot, wouldn't it? Heading off in that direction to show where I am in relation to the quarry. In the distance over here, you've got, I call it Gap now because it used to be called Sycamore Gap, but the sycamore is gone now, as we well know. Though the stump is still there, and there's a couple of shoots coming off that stump, so if that's just allowed to just grow the way it is, it's just going to be a weird looking tree in 100 years time. But yeah, Sycamore Gap, as it was known, just across there. In the far distance over here, you've got Kings and Queens Crags, which is quite a walk over there. And in that direction, a couple of miles away, is the Housesteads Roman Fort. And like I say, from here, the views are pretty spectacular. Looking right onto the top of the moors in the distance. It's a lovely day for it. The weather forecast today was hitty-missy. Nice in the morning, but a bit hitty-missy in the afternoon. But hey, perfect conditions really. You haven't got glaring sunshine coming down on you. There's a little bit of cloud cover, which makes it better for photography, I think, anyway. So, yeah, I'm trying to get a couple of shots with this Slypod. I've just forgotten how to use it. Because when you're on your own, the best way to use this is to put it in cycle mode, so it just continuously goes in and out all the time. And that way you get a few different tries at your shot. But I've forgotten how to use it. It's been that long. I might have a sit down in a minute and just, I don't know, see if I can get an internet connection and see if I can work out how to put it in cycle mode. You just forget these things, and there's so many things to remember when you've got gear, you know. This clearly hasn't been quarried for a long, long time. It's ancient. I would say definitely Roman, or at least the Romans started it. That's my view with a lot of these type of places. The Romans started the quarry here. They needed stone for the wall, and obviously found out where the deposits of whatever it is, granite, I don't know, what do you call that? It's sedimentary, isn't it? It's like a sandstone. You can tell by the layers, of course. But this obviously hasn't been quarried for centuries and centuries. Let's go and have a proper good look at it, shall we? I don't know, I just find these places like fascinating. Lovely features, you know. And you think hundreds of men would have been chopping away at this rock to get big lumps of it to build the wall. Looks like people have been digging. People have definitely been digging. The fine for that is quite substantial. Now, I think there's a dirty old sign on this stone somewhere. There it is. Now, there we go. What do you reckon that is then? Look at the views, man. Over Vindolanda. Fantastic. Well, that's another one ticked off the list. It actually wasn't on the list, this particular quarry. I didn't even know it existed until last Saturday, a week gone. Me and my wife had come up to have a look at Sycamore Gap and walk along Hadrian's Wall a little bit. Then we went to the Sill. I don't know if you know about the Sill, but it's a lovely place. There's like a museum there, a little shop, lovely cafe, nice food. And you can walk up on the roof as well and, you know, get a bit of a viewpoint. And I looked in this direction and I seen this quarry. And I'm always interested in quarries because I think they're nice features in the landscape. And I thought myself, as soon as I got home, I went straight on the OS maps and plotting a route out to this, which of course I haven't stuck to today. My route was to walk along the ridge, but I'm going to go back that way, follow the route that I should have done, I should have taken coming here. Again, it's one of them places that you don't find a lot of people coming to. As ever, when you're in Northumberland, you're always being chased by the weather. I don't know if you can see on the camera the dark clouds behind me, but I reckon rain is about 30 minutes away. Now, is 30 minutes enough time for me to get back to the car? I don't know. Hopefully. That dark cloud's looking close behind me. So there's the trig point, just on the top of the hill there. Let's head up for that and then we'll get a real step on. No time to piss around anymore with the Slypod. In fact, I think the batteries ran out because it's sat around for probably about 4 years without being used. I think I'm probably going to, I don't know if the battery's finished or whether I can just keep charging it and eventually it will build up over time. I think that's what you do with old batteries. I'll give it a try. If not, it's bricked and I'm, you know, how much, I don't know how much I paid for it. 200 or 300 quid up the Swanee. But take that as a warning for these electronic devices. Use them. The batteries need to be charged up regularly. You need to, when you're packing them away, maybe for the winter, make sure they're fully charged and then get them out every now and again, get the device out, plug it in, recharge it up and just keep them charged, because if you let them fall below a certain level, they're knackered, unfortunately. And I've had a few devices like that. And just while I'm on about that, this coating they put on cameras and various devices to give it a grip, like a rubberized sort of coating, that's another bugger as well, because after a few years that just starts to break down and the device becomes all sticky to handle. And I've looked into all kinds of ways to get around that, but that's a pain in the arse as well. I'd rather they didn't put that coating on in the first place. Maybe it just needs that, it needs to be touched and used constantly, otherwise it's just left to break down. Oh, there we are. Great spot. Oh, it's a wonderful spot this. Great to be at the trig point, standing still in the distance, but I need to get a step on because this rain is coming quicker than I thought. So that's it until I get back on the tarmac. In fact, if it rains, we'll use this as the ending of the video. Thanks for joining me again on this wild walk in Northumberland. I hope it's given you inspiration to come out here and do this one yourself, or wherever you live, to find out what's around the doors, you know, where you live. There's loads to see, man, just off the beaten path. And on that note, I'll say bye for now, and I'll see you on the next one. Ooh, that weather's not looking good. That weather's not looking good. So I made it back just before the rain started. I managed to get back to the car just before the first drops of rain started coming down, and I've made my way along to the sill to have some lovely soup. So thanks for joining us on this walk today. I think it's been incredible, actually. I've really enjoyed it, and picked the right time of day to come, because if I'd left it any later, I would have been rained off. Anyway, I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.